Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live, talk radio without the static. Email your questions and comments to lynn at pghcitypaper.com. And now your host, Lynn Cullen.
Hey, welcome to the program. It is September 2nd. It's a Wednesday, right? It's my pandemic brain can't keep track of days, months. I might not even, well, I do know it's 2020, the year that will live in infamy. Anyway, hi, how you doing? Let's talk. A little bit of good news, kind of, sort of. I said little bit. And I did not know the Centers for Disease Control could do this, but they actually did something. And that was that they ordered a national moratorium, essentially, protecting a lot of renters from eviction through the end of the year. The fine print is everything. The order protects people who earn, a certain amount of money. They also have to prove that they are unable to pay. They have to prove that their inability to pay is a result of the pandemic. And they have to show that they've looked for government assistance and that they would likely be homeless if evicted. So if they can, check off all of those things, I'm being told that my call is not good. What should I do? Maybe, you know what? Probably won't change if I call back in. Okay, my producer's telling me I'm not sounding good. Can you all hang there? I'm going to hang up. I'm going to try again. And if that doesn't work, I guess I'll try my cell phone. And Amy, you could let me know there are callers by emailing me. Okay, but let's try the landline one more time. This will take just 30 seconds or so. Okay, so there'll be silence for a while, and then I'll be back. Hang on. Okay, how do I sound? Is it better? If it's not better, I'm going to hang up again, and we'll try my my cell phone. And this happened with my sister yesterday, so I don't know. Amy, let me know if this sounds any better. So anyway, in talking about this CDC order, it gives some measure of relief to some people, but I suspect not all people, and a little better, but not completely. I'm going to do my cell phone, guys, and see if that's any better, okay? Hang on, I don't want you. I can't stand listening to that kind of, jumble. So here, hang on. I'm going to do that again. And Amy, if there's callers, please just email me. And callers understand that the email's very slow in letting me know you're there. Okay, hang on. We're going to switch phones again. All right, testing. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Amy, I won't know if I sound okay because you can't. Well, how do you text me when I'm? I don't understand any of this. Okay, I'm hoping that's better. Uh, if not, I don't know. Jeez. All right. I'm sorry, Amy. You're just gonna have to deal with me on the email. Okay. Something I've been wanting to share with you. I'm just going to do this first, and then I want to get into some of the things that our repulsive president said yesterday that just are beyond belief. Kurt, who is one of us, sent this. I have to tell you, Amy, I'm getting a lot of racket in my ear. Shit. Excuse my French. Those annoying sounds that have happened since, yeah. So that's there. It's better on the cell, I'm being told. Okay. But it's not great for me. I just want you to know. Okay. Anyway, back to Kurt. He suggested something which I think is just so smart, and he suggested it in a letter to State Representative Summer Lee, and I'm just going to read it to you. His biggest point is, stop and think about. I'm not going to read the whole thing. The biggest point is, think of all of the jobs that require a state license. I mean, and hours of study and all kinds. Think of all of them. The person who gives you a pedicure, the plumber, I think everything is practically your hairdresser, physicians, obviously, doctors. I mean, all manner of real estate agents, all manner of professions. A huge percentage of professions, the state licenses. You got to show a certain level of proficiency, and because the state licenses you, you are vulnerable to having that license yanked. And Kurt suggests that that's what we do with police. He told Representative Lee, if I understand correctly, the only qualifications to be a police officer in Pennsylvania and in most states is to complete a training course and pass an exam. And then there is nothing to monitor or regulate beyond the job performance. Whereas a licensing board would establish minimum qualifications, provide monitoring and maintaining of professional standards. We could ensure that police who showed substandard performance could not easily transfer from one department to another as they do now. Kurt says that if an officer's conduct is unprofessional or shows insufficient respect for the life and liberty of Pennsylvania citizens, the license could be suspended or terminated. And this could be highly effective if backed by a law requiring that all police officers in the state maintain a license that they have to have this license. Now, stop and think. Somehow the state legislature has seen fit to have so many workers who deal with the public jump through a lot of hoops, spend money, go to school, all this kind of stuff, to be able to ply their trade. Well, why the hell wouldn't we do that for people who are armed and sometimes dangerous? They somehow don't have to be licensed? I would think that they should be licensed more than the person who does my nails or cuts my hair. Just saying. And it's a smart idea. And I can't think of a damn reason why it shouldn't be instituted immediately. That's all I want to say. I'll be curious to see what Representative Summer Lee says in response. Something that Trump said yesterday, and I saw reported credulously, and I can't remember what network I was watching. They repeated it as if it were true, and it was not. And here's what he said. My administration coordinated with the state, talking about Wisconsin, my administration coordinated with the state and local authorities to very, very swiftly deploy the National Guard. He said that in that ridiculous roundtable he held yesterday in Kenosha. And then he also tweeted, if I didn't insist, all caps, on having the National Guard activated in Kenosha, there would be no Kenosha now. Well, let's bring some reality to this. The president does not call up the state guard. The governor does. And the governor of Wisconsin, Tony Evers, did call up the state National Guard very quickly. This Democrat governor called them up very quickly. And then when things got even more squirrely, he called in more. And a day later, he actually asked other states, governors of Arizona, Michigan, and Alabama, to help him, and they sent troops. So the Democratic governor of Wisconsin was quick to bring National Guard troops to Kenosha and tamp down what was happening there. And let's remember what was happening there. Okay. One black man was shot in the back 7 times in front of his 3 young sons by a police officer. 2 protesters of that police shooting were shot and killed by a Trump supporter a few days later. So the violence, the death, was not the result of protesters. It was the cops and a Trump supporter. And what tamped it down was the Democratic governor calling in not only his National Guard, but seeking help from other states. He didn't turn to the feds at all. And Trump saying that he coordinated with him is of course, lie. and the absurdity of him being credited for keeping Kenosha on the map by sending in guard troops when he did not. And that some media let him spread these obvious lies just boils my blood. He did the same thing in Minneapolis. He said, as a matter of fact, he repeated this yesterday at that stupid roundtable thing. He said, you look at Minneapolis, they should have acted much quicker. When we got the National Guard in there, it took literally a half hour. You saw the scene. It was over, and they haven't had a problem of any consequence since. That's a lie. A total lie again. The governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz, a Democrat, activated the Minnesota National Guard after George Floyd's death, May 28th to be exact, and the Guard began its deployment at 4 p.m. that day. I tell you that because at midnight, 8 hours after the Guard had been deployed by the Democratic governor, our president tweeted that the mayor of Minneapolis better get his act together or I'm going to send in the National Guard and get the job done right. That anyone would think that this man deserves 4 more years is beyond me. It's beyond any rational person's ability to conjure why, in heaven's name, anyone could tolerate a lying SOB like this. Stoking more and more division rather than doing what every other president before him tried to do, which is, well, I'm not going to say every other, because Republican presidents, I thought of Richard Nixon when I said that, have often sought division to maintain power. And then, of course, this bizarro interview he had on Fox News and what he said, he was spouting total QAnon. Total QAnon. When he said, people that you've never heard of are controlling Biden. That's the QAnon bit. These dark forces, yes. Oh, then he said people that are in the dark shadows. This is QAnon. People in the dark shadows are controlling Biden and controlling the world. And when they're not busy controlling the world, they're eating babies, drinking their blood, waiting for Donald Trump to save them. And so there is a man who is, God help us, the President of the United States, using this propaganda arm of the Republican Party, Fox News, to disseminate this total wacko. I mean, just a few months ago, it was considered total wackiness, and now it is in the White House and in the Republican Party, and not a word from Republican office holders.
Even Ingram couldn't take it. She says, that sounds like a conspiracy theory. And he said quickly, no, people that you've never heard of. They're people that are on the streets. They're people that are controlling the streets. Did you know they're controlling the streets, these people, too? How do they find time to have sex with children and kill them and eat them for dinner? These must be the greatest multitaskers in the world. And then he went into that plane thing. What the hell was that? We had somebody get on a plane from a certain city this weekend. And in the plane, it was almost completely loaded with thugs wearing these dark uniforms, black uniforms with gear and this and that. They're on a plane. Anyone who is not frightened living in a country governed by this man lacks the survival skills needed to, I think, successfully procreate at some point if that's their desire. Jeez! Wow! And to think we could lose this election to this crazy man, this sicko, this psychopath. God. And then the clear attempt to make war on much of America, most of America, the cities of America. That's the Republican game plan, to demonize the cities of America as hellholes on fire. And they're doing that, obviously, because most American large cities are run by Democrats. Not all. And in fact, I think it was NBC that did a piece last night that showed how the uptick in crime this year is happening in cities run by Democrats and happening in cities run by Republicans. There's no difference. There aren't as many Republican cities, but when there are, they got the same issues, the exact same issues, and the same increase in crime. I'm talking about Fort Worth. I'm talking about Jacksonville. I'm talking about Tulsa, San Bernardino. Yeah. And let's be clear that when cities in this country have tried to confront some of the issues in urban America, they have been stymied over and over again by Republicans in Washington who have cut funding to programs that would help because it's to their advantage to make the cities look bad. And this idea that somehow mayors are able to have incredible control of all of these huge issues, socioeconomic issues, poverty, housing, crime, you name it. It's absurd. Unlike Trump, who's running a deficit unlike any ever seen, mayors have to have a balanced budget. They can't run deficits. And they're limited by the states. in their ability to raise taxes or enact laws on issues. You know that. Every time it seems that Pittsburgh has tried to get their hands around an issue and pass legislation, damn, right away they get sued and they're told, you don't have the authority to do that. So the Republicans, as usual, are totally disingenuous in this, trying to paint this picture of Democrats unable to control cities. And the assumption that cities are somehow little nations, little city-states that they govern. The reality is no, Donald Trump has extreme power, which he likes. He's the one not doing a damn thing. When the pandemic hit, what did he do? He deferred after totally screwing it up. He said, oh, this is for the states. He let the governors handle it. Guys, I mean, my anger is... I have a caller. Oh, gosh. Thanks. Caller, you still there? Hello?
Hello.
Hi.
How you doing? Hey.
Ha!
He will lose. He will lose. He will lose if we vote, if we vote, if we vote. He's losing in all the categories. Double digits, suburban women, suburbanites. He is losing among college-educated people. He is losing. The numbers are in the Democrats' favor. He will lose if we vote, and I could bet my life on it. He will lose, and that he will. He will not win if everybody comes out and votes like they're supposed to. If we sit back like the last time and say, hell, he'll lose, then we're not going to win. But if everybody votes, we'll win. We've got this.
All right.
We got it.
I want you to know
you can't go into a fight and think you're going to lose. You got to go into a fight. I used to do martial arts. You have to go into a fight and believe you can win, and we're going to win. We're going to do it.
I want to tell you, you are welcome to call the show every day and do this little pep talk for me.
Yeah, because I can't go into
I need it.
Even I'm going to lose. No way.
Okay.
Okay, see ya.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
Yeah, thank you. God almighty. Oh, dear, dear, dear. Okay, so, what else I have here for you? Oh, this is something I saw that I really liked. The governor of New Jersey, a Democrat, signed a bill that criminalizes the act of calling 911 because a black person is standing on your property or because a black person is doing anything. Anybody who calls 911 or files a false police report solely because of somebody's race and ethnicity, religion, all that kind of stuff, they will be charged. He, in signing the statement, said it's an abhorrent form of discrimination, and the misuse of our 911 system places victims in a potentially dangerous situation and obviously can erode trust between people of color and law enforcement. Individuals who choose to weaponize this form of intimidation will be held accountable to the fullest extent of the law. So that's good news. I would like to see some other states follow suit. Lou says, you're not alone in your anger. I know I'm not. You're not alone in your outrage. I know. But we're all so separated now. It's hard to be sitting here in my home by myself in such a state. The majority of us, Lou says, are also witnessing this same atrocity, and we will vote. Well, thank you for that. I mentioned Representative Summer Lee before, and there's something else I want to talk to you about that she also. What's the word, Colin? Jesus Christ. That she also spoke of. I had mentioned a certain woman whose last name is Bell, who works on KDKA radio. I had mentioned her the other day because she is now, I saw 2 clips of her actually fomenting violence against, people like me, I guess. Essentially, she was saying shoot to kill. We're going to shoot. She was trying to do what Donald Trump does, which is stoke the violence, because this is their only recipe, they think, for winning. The only way they win, they think, is if they create such carnage, borrowing a phrase from Trump's first inaugural address, which I didn't at the time even understand. I thought, what? What's he talking about, carnage in America? It's something he wants, because then he can play the strong man. And it's what his followers want. And Wendy is one of them. So I said, that there's no way that a reputable radio station would employ somebody who is actively urging her audience to shoot other people. And somebody dug up a tweet I had done, 6 months ago, when she said something else outrageous, where I said that she's vile and she should be a boycott against her program. And that got retweeted again a lot yesterday. And then I was not the only person doing that. There's now there is online a petition. See, normally I would go to my phone with this stuff, but I can't do it and talk to you unless I do it on speakerphone, and I'm not sure that's right. So I'm sort of stuck here a little bit. There is a petition to have her removed. But Summer Lee did respond to a lot of this Twitter activity with something, and she said something to the effect of, you're giving her what she wants by retweeting this and her clips, by talking about her, by making her a cause celeb. You are giving her what she wants, which is Summer Lee telling us that Ms. Bell is very much like the narcissistic sociopath that she worships, Donald Trump. And she craves more and more attention, and she has no problem if she gets that attention by setting American against American, by suggesting American kill American. And Summerlee also said, and we've heard this before, I've trafficked in it, that she is probably trying to up. She once had national attention. When she got fired from WTAE television, that case, that thing made national news. And even though it showed her in a bad light, she loved it. Even though it cost her a job, she loved it because she has reinvented herself now as a Laura Ingraham wannabe. And she's doing her routines now with, as they all do, an audience of one in mind, right? I don't know, probably whoever's hiring at Fox News. But there is a petition out there, if you want to sign it. And here I think I can. But I know Summerlee is right. But on the other hand, KDKA needs to be hurt by continuing to employ her. Of course, if they were ever to fire her, she would have then, become a cause celeb, which is what she wants. I don't know. But the petition says here, it's been up for a day. There's 1,000 people that have supported it. It's at change.org. Okay? If you want, at change.org, if you want to sign it. And it says above, if you go to it, it says Wendy Bell is doing her best to try and make a national name for herself. She has sold herself out to the point where she is now inciting violence on her Twitter feed, as well as spewing hate for American citizens on air. She is sowing division. Get her off the air. She has no business being paid for her hate-filled rhetoric. This is the town where 11 people were killed at Tree of Life by up to 1,111 people have signed. You might want to. So it's change.org if you want to look for it. But, Summerlee brought up the sort of catch-22 of giving attention to a person for whom attention is the oxygen they breathe and they need. And it could be that the cynical, irresponsible owners of KDK radio also have no problem with it. I do think that costing them advertising dollars is the most effective way. And I know Wendy is a spokesperson for a local car dealership. I can't think of which one, but maybe they could get targeted. I don't know. I do know that we don't want her. This city does not need a voice like this on that radio station, which, as we know, has more wattage than any in town. And what is sad is that there are some good people who do work there, and it once was a great radio station. That was before I came to town. It was a great radio station, but it was not owned then by the current ownership. And I'm sure the folks at KDTV are very unhappy since they're constantly having to put out press releases saying we do not have the same ownership anymore. The radio is separate from the TV, different owners. That didn't used to be the case, but it is now. God, I don't know what you do with her. I don't know. Getting to the emails, Bree writes, my doctoral dissertation looked in part at the election of 2000. What I found was that there was a rally round the flag effect that happened after the election night. The momentum carried Bush to victory in the immediate aftermath, and then later in the eyes of more and more. The media coverage and the threat of legal battles saw Al Gore concede. Biden needs to win overwhelmingly, or else. Well, and how do you win overwhelmingly when you've got the incumbent actively working to cripple the U.S. Postal Service when this election will be held via the U.S. mail, more so, far more so than it ever has, right? Bree goes on, Trump voters clearly will brave COVID to go to his rally, so they will go to the polls in person. Well, I got to tell you, so will I. I did tell you. And I think many of us should. As I said, I'm an old asthmatic. I will go to the polls. But come on, the polls, big deal. I put a mask on. I don't touch anybody. I put gloves on if I want. I bring my own pen to sign. I don't. Yeah. I mean, come on. You can do that and not die. And the more of us who vote in person, the more we will avoid the real danger of him having an election night lead. We all know that the ballots won't be counted for a week or more. And so when they start counting the absentee ballots, all of a sudden Biden takes the lead. Well, you can imagine what his credulous lemmings will say. They're stealing it, they're rigging it, they're stealing it, they'll be in the streets. So I think we should avoid that by voting in person. And I think we need to, if possible, be part of the effort to recruit people willing to be poll watchers. I mean, not watchers, but poll workers. Because some of the old people who do that are afraid. If I weren't dealing with this back issue I have, which is keeping me from being able to do much of anything, I would, I think, volunteer to be a poll worker. I think that's the kind of thing patriots got to do right now. I really do. So I'm putting together a show where we will learn. I mean, I do know there's problems if you get an absentee ballot and then choose to vote in person. It could be that you will not be allowed to, that will be a provisional vote, so it'll be not counted on election night. So if you've already got or asked for a ballot, I don't know that you're able to do that. But we're going to answer all those questions for you in the coming weeks. So I don't know.
I don't know. Little Tony says, if that video doesn't get her, that'd be Bell, off Katie, then nothing will. Well, that's true. It's not like her bosses haven't seen it. And I suspect, they belong to the theory and so much AM radio ownership that you do what you have to do to keep the white nationalists in power and to sow as much division as you possibly can. That's the template of right-wing talk radio, which owns talk radio. I certainly know that. They own it. They suppress other voices. So Tony's saying, I don't agree with Summer Lee. I think we should shout this from the mountaintops. Okay, well, let us not repeat the mistake we made last time of, thinking that he can't be reelected. I have a caller. Caller, go ahead, please.
Hi, Lynn.
Hi.
David. Hey, I've got the coffee on. I'm jumping around listening to you. I'm all fired up, and me and Kathy, we volunteered to be poll workers, and we voted live last in the primary, so we're just going to do it again. It was set up really good in Hampton. There was no problem with people maintaining distance, wearing masks. I think
That's
they had
great.
a lot of volunteer fire department people working there to supplement for the elderly that weren't.
Well, that's good. And when do you get your training and stuff if you volunteered? I mean, because you got to go through training to do
Well, they didn't call Kathy back last time until the week before and said, well, we can't do it anymore. I don't know how, I don't know why there were some glitches last time. Maybe they had enough people. I don't know. They would have. I thought they would have told you that if they did.
Yeah.
But
that's the problem, that we need the poll workers so that all the polls can be open, because if they do what they did in the primary, which is in the city here, close most of them and just have everybody voting in my neighborhood. All these neighborhood places were closed and everybody had to go to Taylor Alderdice. And in this election, with the turnout there will be, that'll be waiting times of, hours and hours and hours.
I would think.
So, yeah.
But we figured each location probably needs 10 workers, and then anybody else that might, any ancillary people that are there to help in other ways. But I don't think you can get by without 10 per location.
Yeah.
And like you said, at Alderdice, it's going to be a mega location, so
right.
Maybe even more. Like maybe they would be setting up different stations with 10 people in them through the area, area that people are walking through. But I thought it was.
But I wanted to say we've gotten a lot better at understanding how to safeguard ourselves and how to safeguard an environment. We can get air purifiers. People can donate for there's just a lot of stuff we could do to make people comfortable.
Quite true. Not locally, but the information that they were throwing around about the basketball arenas being open for elections is also very hopeful. And their season will be over by then, and those spots will just be sitting there empty.
Well, I don't think they've been using those. They haven't been using those facilities, right? Aren't they playing all their games in Disney World or something?
Oh,
aren't they?
That's correct. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
Sure.
So, I mean, they could be getting retrofitted right now, all those NBA arenas.
And they're huge. I mean, they're just massive coliseums that I don't know what their capacity would be, but I'm sure there's multiple entrances and exits throughout these buildings.
Exactly. Well, maybe the Penguins should think about using that facility as well.
Well, it's always a possibility, though. You know, what can a lame bird do? You know, I mean,
exactly. What are they doing?
They're just harassing people up there on the hill about putting in a grocery store or some crap.
Oh.
I mean, I've been infuriated with them since they tore all those people out of that area and put in the
arena,
civic arena in the first place.
Yeah. It was an outrageous act. It really was. Now we realize it.
I mean,
at the time that was progress.
Overt racism is what it's called.
Yeah. Well, I don't think people understood that.
We
see it now.
I think I asked you before about this. Have you heard of this book called Wicked Pittsburgh? About that?
No.
About that and multiple other crap that's happened in the city that's made us as great as we are. You know, it's a fellow from the University of West Virginia wrote it. It's intriguing, and you'll read it in one sitting.
No, I haven't heard of it.
And it's an eye opener for anybody. He did research. He dug deep, and even stuff that you thought you knew about. Well, he goes into a lot more interesting detail on it, and it's all right. It might be worth checking out in this season of madness. Anyway, go.
Well, thank you.
Go work at the polls. It looks like it's pretty easy if they ever get a hold of it.
Thank you very much, David. Thank you.
Welcome. Take care.
Okay. Bye. Yeah, you too. Bye-bye. Ann is telling us that Bell's sponsor is Schultz Ford. The owner is a Trump supporter. Schultz Ford. Well, don't buy your Ford there. Be aware. I don't know where it is. I'm not into. I wouldn't buy a Ford anyway, and that goes back to. Are you aware that it was for years and years and years and years? It was almost impossible to find a Jew driving a Ford. Did you know that? Like if you were to look in the parking lot of a synagogue on, like Yom Kippur, you're not seeing Fords. And there's a reason for that. Because it was Jews would not buy his car, because Henry Ford, the brilliant founder of the Ford Motor Company, was, when he wasn't being the brilliant owner of the Ford Motor Company and the genius who figured out, how to have rolling assembly lines, and who even figured out that he had to pay his workers enough so they could afford the product they bought. All those things are really, really impressive. When he wasn't being impressive like that, he was actively working to make Jews the most hated, hunted people in the world. He was all on anti-Semite. He promulgated every crazed Jewish conspiracy theory. He was something, a real hater. And Jews wouldn't buy his cars. Understandably, right? And I still have it. I wouldn't buy a Ford. It's just a thing. I wouldn't buy a Ford. Okay, so what we got here? Oh, Lou says, I happen to know from doing it that a polling station probably could get away with 5 people. Really? I was thinking of mine, where I vote at my at the elementary school near my house, and there are, I'd say, 8. I think there's the 2 people sitting at the table, sometimes 3. There's the guy who helps you over to the machine and sticks the little thingamajiggy in. That's 4. And then there's the same complement of people across the gym on the other side, who I guess are doing a different. I never understood that part. Whatever. I don't know, but I think there's under 10 there. But the more, I guess, the speedier it might be. I don't know, but well, if Lou's worked them, she knows that you could get away with 5, but that sounds like you need a little bit more, ideally. I want to see what I'm having trouble here. Hang on. I'm really having trouble with my damn. God, I hate my. Excuse me, I didn't mean to scream at you. I really didn't. I just hate this computer. It's making me insane. It is. It's killing me. It's killing me. Okay. Oh, here. That's it. Did you see that Mike Pence, our Stepford husband, vice president, when asked about this revelation in the New York Times reporter's book about Trump's White House, and the revelation that Trump had run off to Walter Reed on a Saturday, and that the vice president had been called and put on alert and standby in case something happened to the president at the hospital. And Pence was asked about that. And do you know what he said? He said, I don't recall. I don't recall being told. Now, that is, the dog ate my homework is a better lie. If you were told, hey, you might have to step in and be the president of the United States, you wouldn't recall that? Give me a break. God. So it turns out he is every bit as much a liar. He's just a liar. Wow. What nonsense. I don't recall. Right. Do I have a caller? Yes? Caller, hello? Hello? Maybe not. I'm sorry. My computer keeps jumping around and I can't see what's going on here. Did you see there was an idiot flying in a jetpack around LAX the other day? You know, the stupidity. And it's often grounded, too. This kind of stupidity is grounded in just selfishness. You know, oh, I got a jetpack, and I'm going to zoom up into the sky like, you know, a superhero and buzz around. Fine and dandy. But you don't do it on the approach path to LAX where you could take down an airliner, take yourself out, too. No great loss there. Unbelievable. And speaking of things in the sky that, could cause trouble, you remember hearing about that asteroid that NASA says is heading toward us and due to possibly hit us on Election Day? Oh, no, day before. I guess it's the day before. It's just too perfect given the way this year is going. And that's a big story. And then I saw the rest of the story, and I'm thinking, come on. Did you see how big this asteroid is? It's less than 7 feet across. It's like a guy on a jetpack heading toward us. So, instead of, I didn't see that little part of it before, that it was this tiny, absurdly tiny little thing. Why even, again, I don't call that good reporting, because some people would have been frightened, right? Some people would have been frightened by it, that news that an asteroid could hit. And, why even put that out there? Well, because it's funny, I guess. Hey, look at this. Now an asteroid's going to hit us the day before the election. But, a 7-foot asteroid ain't even going to get through the atmosphere, is it? It'll burn up. And even if it doesn't, the most it could do is take out a person or two. Come on. Unbelievable. Well, okay. So I think that's it. Let me quickly check and see if I can get you a COVID reading. Yesterday, new case count was really down, which was nice to see. Although, it jumps around. Here it is. And see, it's back up again. Boy, this is not as good. Jesus, people are dying. I got to tell you, I think there were 5 deaths yesterday. Only 22 cases, new cases, but 5 deaths. So here again, the cases keep coming in, but some of the cases are old people, and they die. But that's okay. Just ask Wendy Bell. That's okay. It's okay. So there's 68 new cases in the last 24 hours and 9 deaths. And the deaths are of one person in their 50s, and then the others are 70s, 80s, 90s. So, and 6 of them are in a long-term care facility. So, man, if you don't have to be in one of those, you don't want to be. But all you people who are continuing to act irresponsibly, I sure wish you would get your acts together. Act together. All right. I think that's it for me. And I thank you for spending the time with me, if in fact you did. And I'll be back tomorrow and hope you'll be here too. Have a good day. Be safe.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper or its advertisers.